In the recent few years, films have increasingly featured queer characters in much more visible roles, and many films have been made that centers LGBTQIA characters, their experiences, challenges, and breakthroughs. Work like Heartstopper, Red, White, and Royal Blue celebrate queer joy, capturing challenges and self-discovery. But the ghost of queer tragedy might always be there, continuing to haunt the narrative. The question is, why is it still so relevant, especially when it can reinforce the queer love is doomed or dangerous to the general audience? Or have we as an audience missed to see the sense of loss that still echoes in the community? In this essay, with the examination of film like Your Name Engraved Herein and Fear Street Part 3, 166, we will be analyzing how the modern cinema exposes the tragedy of queer people in history under the weight of religion and society. Key point number 1. Love cannot be controlled or oppressed and grows even in the toughest times. In Your Name Engraved Herein, as observed by illiterate journals of English linguistics and literature studies, under Taiwan's martial law, queer identity was suppressed and people who opposed it were either arrested or had to face bullying and violence. The first few scenes of the movie, after Ahan and Birdie unite, often show their subtle physical interactions like lingering glances, shy smiles, and soft touches through close-ups and soft lighting. Their interactions are often to be seen in private places like dark theaters, secluded corners of the school, and seaside, in contrast to the wide shots of them being in public places like school assembly. In Fear Street Part 3, 1666, Sarah and Hannah shared a romantic bond with one another that had to be hidden from the villagers as same-sex marriage was considered to be sinful and punishable under community's strict religious beliefs. Their interactions were often encountered in forests and secluded houses, symbolizing refuge away from the judgmental eyes of the society that could have dangerous consequences if discovered. The private interactions were often intimate, with a lot of close-ups, shadows, and low lighting. Both films have successfully conveyed the trope of forbidden love, illustrating how society and religion tears queer expressions yet doesn't fail to grow beneath the pressure in secrecy. But how long can they handle it? Key point number 2. Suffocation, fear, and frustration under the perfect angle of life of society. In Your Name Engraved Herein, after their high school graduation, Birdie and Ahan visit the seaside. Ahan, with years of overflowing emotions and frustration from his Catholic household and being confronted by the priest, bursts out, where his screams are now covered by the waves of the ocean. The sea symbolizes the shallow space of isolation away from their religion, government, and society, and the intensity of the waves mirror their complex emotions. Likewise, in Fear Street Part 3, 1666, under the puritanical strictures of 17th century's shady side, where Sarah Fear and Hannah Miller, two queer women under the fear of persecution, hide their relationship. Later on, when she is framed by Solomon and villagers for witchcraft, under the fear of Hannah leaping the same faith as her, she is forced to take the responsibilities. As stated by the comparative cinema, Sarah Fear is betrayed by her community not for practicing witchcraft but for defying social norms. Her assertion that she fears not the devil but the neighbor who would accuse her underscores the full condemnation of moral panic and enforced conformity. Key point number 3. The necessity of never forgetting the struggles and revolution of the past. When I saw people celebrating on the streets, I actually felt a little bit sorrowful because for the people from my generation who were born in 70s, for example, it may be too late for them, he says. Many were not able to catch what he calls the train of happiness. Your Name Engraved Herein, a coming-of-age movie about falling in love in the midst of homophobia and social stigma, was based on director Patrick Liu's personal experience collected from his diaries and journals. In Fear Street Part 3, 1666, after the execution of Sarah Fear, she is remembered as a witch, but not an innocent woman wronged by the society for not living up to its standards, till Dina and her friends unfold the truth, breaking the cycle, showing that reclaiming and reflecting is the only way to achieve liberation. At last, as a conclusion, both of the films, despite being from very different genres, share the same truth that has been hidden beneath the cruel injustice of society and religion. The freedom and acceptance we have today is built upon the cases of suffering, resistance, and tragic endings that are still unseen. Lancet has interpreted that in the late 19th century, sexologists across Europe classified homosexuality as a disease and studied and medicalized for cure. Similarly, Roxburgh has explained that Cameroon has considered homosexuality and witchcraft to intersect with one another, as both of them were seen as foreign threat to their social and moral order. Films like Your Name Engraved Herein and Fear Street Part 3, 1666 debrief the tragedy of queer people in history under the weight of religion and society, whether it's by reliving their own personal experiences and opening their wound or healing themselves. These films teach us to forgive but never forget and prevent the history from repeating itself.